How do I deliver advice to villains? With this gun in my hand.
One cold Thursday at 12 minutes of 9 in the morning, Falk Zildjian, inapproachable hero by virtue of the fact that he carries a gun, eases open the door of the boiler room in an abandoned grade school.
Falk, where you been? Almost a half hour we've been waiting for you. What are you complaining about, wordsmith? You said to meet you at 12 minutes of 9. I'm right on time. My two-way wrist radio shows it's 9:12. 12 minutes of 9 means 12 till 9. Then why didn't you say that? I thought it meant 12 after. And what did you mean we've been waiting? You and who else? I know you don't enjoy these meet and greet sessions with aspiring crime fighters. Oh, not again. But it does a lot of good. Come on, give me a tip on some bridge getting bombed, or a bank heist, or embezzling, anything but this. I thought we always did these counseling routines in Gristle Park. Last time I set it up in Gristle Park, you saw the junior heroes lined up under a street lamp and you turned tail and ran. It's a waste of my time. You underestimate what it does for these people. It gives them the confidence they need. Yeah, and half of them turn out to be villains. Remember the Silver Cyclist? Some of them are on the fence. I've seen you turn plenty of people from criminals into crime fighters. In fact, there's no fledgling heroes in this bunch. They're all planning to do crimes. You could say they're certainly no angels. Get out of here. Who was that? The Titleist. He busts into the middle of radio dramas and steals the line where somebody was supposed to say the title of the episode. Forget him. Why would a bunch of criminals ask me for advice? And why would I give it? They're here because you've given helpful advice to some criminals in the past. I'm sure you didn't mean to. And you're here because it's an opportunity to talk them down from a life of crime. Failing that, at least you get to know some details about them, which could help you bring them to justice later. You don't have leads for any crimes I could fight today. Purse snatching? Graffiti? It's a slow crime week. All right, I'll do it. Have we got a couple chairs in this dump? You can use that broken printing press as a bench. I'll go tell them to line up in the hallway. Where are they waiting now? Don't tell them anything. I could get a crew of cops in here and we could jail them all within 5 minutes. They're in the teacher's lounge. Only place in the building where smoking's allowed. And no cops. I promised this would be neutral territory. No fights and no arrests. Besides, you couldn't prosecute because they're all newbies. Nobody's seen them do anything wrong. And no, you're not recording their confessions on a wire recorder because I promised no arrests.
Later, in the Hall of Justice. A few minutes later, the first advisee entered the boiler room.
Hello, Mr. Zildjian? The word on the street, Smith, said I might have a word with you. Yeah. He said you're planning a life of crime and I'm supposed to talk you out of it if I can. Why don't you start with your name and your shtick? Have you got some superpower or advanced training in some area? My name is Nick Danger. It's my real name, so I use Danger as my fighting name. I'm a wrestler, a professional on the chitterling circuit. These are mostly wrestlers of color, and I am the heel for the crowd to boo at. A stooge, similar to that team who accompanies the Harlem Globetrotters on their exhibition games. The Washington Generals. I don't think they have a formal name for the opposing team. Sorry, they haven't officially been named yet. I heard it from a guy who can see the future in limited ways. Anyway, what are your powers besides wrestling? That is all, but I'm very good at it. Acting as a villain was only something I performed as part of the wrestling show. It is not normally in my nature. And yet my countrymen make me so angry. I want to fight them now. I want to kill them. Why? What did they do? The majority of them voted for a fascist, which means they voted to never vote again. At first I blamed the despot-elect, but the real problem is that my fellow countrymen are idiots. They want taxes lowered, but they want all the things that taxes provide them with, like schools and roads and clean water and fire departments. Because of their stupidity, now the roads get worse. Bridges fall down. They blame immigrants for stealing their jobs, without thinking that bosses are the ones who make hiring and firing decisions. They complain about unskilled workers demanding more money, but they don't care how much money the bosses make. That would make anyone angry. But who are your countrymen? Where are you from? Bulgaria? Somewhere in Eastern Europe? I can't place your accent. What accent? I'm from East Piscataway. Oh, you're angry at Americans for voting fascist? But we've had FDR for 6 years now. His policies are more progressive than possibly any previous president. He can't be the fascist you're talking about. No, I see what's going on here. You're a time traveler from a distant future when Americans elect an honest-to-goodness fascist? No, I am more like a time traveler from the past. I've been in a coma since October 1924, after a horse went out of control and knocked me down on Gazpacho Boulevard. I woke up yesterday and found out that monster Calvin Coolidge had won the election. Who is this FDR? Roosevelt. Not him again. Did he launch another war? This is Franklin Roosevelt, not Teddy. You might like him. Just what we need. Another dynasty of American presidents, like the Adams family. Who? John Adams and John Quincy Adams. Oh, yeah. It makes me so angry. How can I restrain myself from murdering my ignorant, fascist-voting countrymen, Mr. Zildjian? You don't need to. That was 15 years ago. Your countrymen have become enlightened since then. They'll never return to the regressive policies of people like Coolidge. And they'll never again vote for dictators or fascists. We'll all live happily ever after? I'm sure of it. That is great to hear. Would you like to wrestle now? No. We don't need to. Wordsmith said you've had too many gunfights in recent episodes, and we should mix things up with some wrestling instead. Some other time, okay? Next.
Good morning, Mr. Zildjian. My name is Jim Platonic.
Hey, I've heard your radio show. Mr. and Miss Platonic. I liked how you solved that murder at the dog show. Don't tell me you're turning criminal.
No, I'm a crime fighter like you. I told Wordsmith I was a villain because I wanted your help.
It would be an honor. What's your problem?
To be honest, I need relationship advice.
Oh boy. Completely outside my wheelhouse. You'd have better luck writing to Miss Lonelyhearts in the Daily Sentinel.
Maybe you'll have a fresh perspective on all this if I explain it to you. As you know from my show, I solve mysteries with my secretary, the lovely and dynamic Miss Platonic.
Sure. A father and daughter crime-fighting team seems like a refreshing premise.
No, we're not related. In fact, I commissioned a genealogist to look up our family trees and confirm we aren't related, going back at least 8 generations. She's just a person I met with the same last name who happens to work for me.
Oh, okay. Are you planning to make her your Mrs. Platonic?
No, why does everyone think that? There's nothing going on between us. I'm her boss. I'm not going to take advantage of my position of economic power over her to do anything unseemly. All I demand of her is that she dictates letters, brews coffee, picks up my dry cleaning, and sometimes rides along when I'm chasing criminals.
That's not unusual.
Sure, I treat her to lunch now and then, or we have dinner together, or go dancing at a jazz club, picnics. We spend every other weekend at my cabin in the Catskills. I've been known to buy her flowers occasionally, or a bracelet or brooch, a diamond ring worth 3 months of my salary. And there was that time when she was at my apartment late one night taking dictation, having a few drinks. It was snowing heavily, so I convinced her to spend the night.
I see.
But there's nothing between us. She'll probably return to her own apartment one of these days, and we'll...
Daddy, look what Mommy gave me.
Now, Penelope Platonic, what did I tell you about coming into this dangerous, abandoned school full of criminals seeking advice?
You said to wait outside with Mommy. But, Daddy, she said you have a meeting scheduled for 15 minutes of 11, and you'll be late if you don't hurry back to the office. She gave me 2 whole bits to come in and tell you. Hello, Mr. Zildjian.
Run along, dear. Daddy has grown-up things to discuss with Mr. Zildjian.
Okay.
I don't quite understand the situation. Does your wife know about this apartment where your secretary has been sleeping over for months?
I'm not married. Nobody's lassoed this old bachelor yet.
So if there's nothing between you two, then the little girl is, your secretary's daughter?
Yes, and mine.
You adopted her?
No. You see, Falk, when a man and woman really love each other...
I've heard how it works. So you enjoy spending time with your secretary, you give her flowers, you take her dancing, she lives with you, you have a daughter together, but there's nothing between you.
Right, now you've got it.
Then what do you need from me?
How do I keep free from entanglements? How do you do it? Everybody knows how close you've been with your confidant, Petra.
One way I get out of unpleasant situations is by yelling, "Next!"
Mr. Zildjian, do you think you could help me?
I guess so. What's your name, your gimmick, and your problem?
Well, as you can see, my jumpsuit conveys a definite theme. Rectangles of dark red with narrow gray lines separating them like mortar. And you can see my weapon of choice, this brick in my hand. I can either clobber my enemies with it or throw it at them.
Say no more. You're looking for a name. How about the Bricklayer?
No, I call myself Ryder's Brick. See, what happened was, gosh, I haven't told anybody my origin story yet. I've been working on my novel for just ages, see? And I got stuck on chapter 2. I felt like the stakes weren't high enough. Things were going too smoothly for the protagonist. It never felt like he was in any imminent danger. It's an action story about Monty Felonius, the gentleman con artist. I wasn't sure whether to scrap the first 2 chapters or switch them around, maybe write a new section to put between them. It made me feel all out of sorts. So I just went outside and I picked a brick off the brick pile and went down the street braining people with it.
Okay.
It made me feel so much better.
Shouldn't you call yourself writer's block?
No, cement blocks are too heavy. I can carry a few bricks around with no problem. Plus, a block-themed costume would have to be all gray with slightly lighter gray lines for the mortar. I'm a summer. I couldn't pull that off.
Okay, but apart from that, your progress in the novel is blocked. If you set it aside for too long, there's a risk that you'll lose interest in the story and it'll go unfinished.
Oh, no, I can always work through narrative problems. I just needed something to take my mind off it for a while, like hitting people with bricks.
Then what's your problem?
People see me coming with a brick, then they see the trail of victims behind me, and they run off.
And?
I was wondering if you could teach me your quick draw technique so I could have the brick hidden in a pocket, then I'd say my catchphrase and it would appear in my hand like magic. This brick in my hand.
I can't demonstrate it for you unless somebody sets me up with a question.
Oh, right. Let me think. It comes easy to everybody else, but I'm so nervous. What weapon would you use to demonstrate your quick draw technique, and where would it appear on your person?
This gun in my hand.
Hey, you shot my brick in half. That could have hit me.
Next time it might if you keep hitting people with bricks. Get back to your novel.
But I have to release my frustrations somehow.
How about this? Go to your friends or relatives or coworkers, or strangers at the bus stop or in a cafe, strike up a conversation, and start telling them about your novel.
How's that supposed to help?
You want to cause some real pain and suffering? Hearing people talk about their novel is worse than getting hit in the head with a brick.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Zildjian.
Don't mention it. And by it, I mean your novel. Don't mention your novel to me. Next.
We have no sponsor this week, so we're reiterating all of the disclaimers from our past ads. Void where prohibited. Taxes not included. Some restrictions apply. Variations in appearance, attitude, mental ability, or organ structure may occur. Keep power cord away from puddles or basement hideouts that are prone to flooding. Do not take choplivria if you've had an allergic reaction to choplivria. So I guess the first time you take it is a big old roll of the dice. Simon Says ignore all statements about choplivria that don't start with Simon Says. Gambling problem? Call the gambling hotline at KLBOOKE. Please kill responsibly because every excess person you murder is a lost customer for us. If you plan to travel through time, make sure your time machine already exists. Don't write instructions for how to make one and plan to send it back in time to your ignorant younger self to construct, when your older self doesn't know how to make one either. That never works. No purchase necessary, except in states where it is legal for us to make purchase necessary, in which case purchase is necessary. Pull the wool over your own eyes. The owls are not what they seem. This is the water, and this is the well. Drink full and descend. And remember, if it doesn't say micro machines, it's not the real thing.
Mr. Zildjian, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. My name is the Throwaway Pitcher. I got 6 ideas for episodes of This Gun in My Hand. Please, will you hear me out? This is good. My day will be all uphill from here, because no one I meet today could possibly be more annoying than you. Go ahead, what are your ideas? Falk Zildjian in Wonderland. No. Falk Zildjian in Cartoonland. No. Falk takes Lapland. No. Falk Zildjian versus Mother Goose. No. Zildjian in the Falklands. No. All right, that's all right. I saved my best for last. Here it is. A German spy shrinks into a microscopic one-man U-boat and gets injected into your stomach. The episode is called This Hun in My Gland. Get out of here. Next. Mr. Zildjian, might I have a moment of your time? It's too abstract. You need something more visceral. I beg your pardon? The villain name written on your shirt. Schema. It's weird. I can't tell what you're about. I can't even tell if you're a good guy or bad guy. That is why I came to see you. People are confusing schema with schemer. I assure you I am an ardent believer in justice. But when I announce that people should call me schema, they think I am a hatcher of schemes, one who schemes. The variation of that word ending with er, schemer, it carries negative connotations. But as everyone can see from the front of my costume, the name is S-C-H-E-M-A, schema. I seek to develop a framework or plan of best practices for use by all fighters of crime, a schema for heroes to follow. How do I eliminate that confusion? Pick a better name. In fact, don't bother with a costume or hero name. You should be advising heroes from behind the scenes. Nobody should know who you are. Next. Oh, bother. Professor Batrachian, what have you been up to?
I've created a revolutionary new chewing gum. The flavor lasts a lifetime.
Wasn't there some other wonky confectioner who invented a gum that never lost its flavor?
Aha. When I said the flavor lasts a lifetime, I didn't say whose flavor. Wonky's gum was intended for human amusement. My extra glob gum amuses itself with humans. It will experience your flavor for the rest of your lifetime, plus another 10 minutes.
That is inhuman, and I'm going to talk you out of your plan before you bring this glob into existence.
Falk, I'm not a Republic serial villain. Do you seriously think I'd explain my master stroke if there remained the slightest chance of you affecting its outcome? I unleashed the extra glob 35 minutes ago.
Then why come to me?
Well, it won't obey me, and it's not ingesting the right people. I want to stop it.
Does it have any weaknesses?
If it goes more than 5 hours without absorbing someone, it will become immobilized.
Good. Lure it under a park bench, a school desk, or a seat in a movie theater. It'll get stuck under there forever.
You know, I think that might work.
Then come back here when the job is done so I can bring you to justice.
Of course.
Next.
Hello, Mr. Zil.
Your name, your gimmick, and your problem.
My supervillain name is Nyah. My superpower is repeating what my enemy says in a mocking voice until it enrages and distracts them.
And what's your problem?
And what's your problem?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it enraging, but I would like to be far away from you. Is it supposed to brainwash your victims into acting without thinking?
No, it's just fun. And that's the problem. It's not distracting enough. I confront some crime fighter and he knocks me out after 2 or 3 punches. I need a real superpower or skill set. And before you say it, I can't afford to travel to the Far East to learn their inscrutable fighting techniques.
What about the East Coast?
Nah.
Good. I'm not going to give you advice on how to defeat heroes.
I'm not going to give you advice on how to defeat heroes. That's what you sound like.
Next. Your name, your shtick, your problem. They call me the Abominable Professor Vibes. My shtick, as you call it, is being an enthusiastic proponent of the most wonderful musical instrument ever created, the vibraphone. My problem is how to bring this instrument out of obscurity and raise awareness of it among the mainstream of Middle America. Hire a publicist. What do you want me to do? Oh no, I couldn't afford something that extravagant. I need a sly way to insert it into the public consciousness, with no more cost than the labor of 2 friends who helped me carry it down to this boiler room. It has a wonderfully cavernous quality, don't you think? Yeah. So you thought you'd show up here and get some free airtime playing it on my show, is that it? Pretty much, yes. Alright, because I'm feeling generous, and there's only 2 more goons left, you can keep playing for a minute. Who's next? Unhand me! Hey, one at a time, guys. I think this British guy was next. Wait, Castro? What are you doing here?
I was following a criminal called Nyah to a secret meeting in the abandoned grade school, and what do I find but Falk Zildjian hosting a Q&A session for prospective villains. What gives, Falk?
It's not what it looks like. Wordsmith badgered me into it. I'm just listening to their problems and trying to talk them out of a life of crime. Pardon me. You'll have to wait your turn, sir. Aren't you a valet?
Go ahead, speak your piece.
Your name, your shtick, and your problem. I am a meticulous maker of bombs known as Tickety Boom. A bomb maker? I'll bring this villain to justice. No, sir, you've got it all wrong. I am what's known as a good guy. I'm passing through Parabellum City on my way home to Philadelphia. I only make bombs for use by the Philadelphia police.
Working with the police, I'll bring this villain to justice.
Wordsmith assured me that this was neutral territory. I could ask my question without being arrested.
Whatever agreement he made with you, I'm not bound by it. Ask your question and then I'm taking you downtown.
Would you suggest I clip the blue wire here, or the red one? Everybody out! Certainly No Angels, episode 122 of This Gun in My Hand, was certified angular by Rob Northrop. This episode and all others are available on YouTube with automatically generated closed captions of dialogue. Visit thisguninmyhand.blogspot.com for credits, show notes, archives, and to buy my books, such as Sisyphus Eat Your Heart Out, available in paperback and ebook from Amazon. What do I use to put the boom in the boiler room? This gun in my hand.